pillow, literally. I was using it poetically. I was making a bit more of a flowery description of a situation.
Can we stick to the facts instead, please?
All right, we'll stick to the facts.
Edgar Rice Burroughs.
People aren't going to want to listen to this podcast if it's over an hour long and is split up into 6 parts. I mean, what are we doing here? I saw a really good movie called The Happening.
Okay.
It was made by a very little-known filmmaker. I think he kind of spearheaded most of it. He directed it, and I'm sure it was most of the movie's creative direction came from him, called M. Night Shyamalan. And he made this movie with Marky Mark from the Funky Bunch in it called The Happening. And it was a very entertaining movie. Like, I had been told... Our friend Tim had seen this movie, and it had affected him. Like, there's a lot of people who love bitching about movies. There's a lot of people who will go and see a movie and then tell you how bad it was. I think you can agree, Alex. Tim is not really one of those people. Like, he's pretty mellow about stuff like that. Like, stuff doesn't really get stuck in his craw. But when he came back from The Happening, he was so pissed at how bad that movie was. And he was making fun of it so much. Like, the fact that the wind chases people, and there's, like, scenes of people, like, looking back, and the wind is coming at them, and they're going, like, ah, running away scared.
With the grass moving, like, in this gorgeous field, and everyone's terrified.
There's a number of things that are rough in this movie. One of them is Zooey Deschanel is in it, and her eyes are so watery the whole movie that you're just like, what is wrong with this character? Like, is she just constantly putting in eye drops or something when we're off camera? I don't know what the hell that was a native. The other thing is Mark Wahlberg's performance. He's supposed to be a science teacher. Every single line, and I thought that they were exaggerating. My friends Andrew and Steve had seen this movie, and whenever they talk about it, they always just start doing Mark Wahlberg's voice in it. You expect a little bit of hyperbole when people are doing something like that to make fun of something, especially somebody's voice, but they were bang on accurate. The entire movie, he's just like, well, what are we gonna do? The bees! Don't you guys care about the bees? I think it's the plants. The plants are going to get us. No! Stop, everybody. Don't cause a ruckus now. That's his voice the entire movie. He just up-talks into a question, like, worriedly to any person that he talks to, ever.
It's because
the whole movie.
The grass was receiving more direction from him than he was, is the thing.
It is brutal, dude. They introduced these 2 teenage characters that
those fucking
where
kids.
They just come out of nowhere, and they're just added so that they can kill off 2 characters and not have them be Mark Wahlberg or Zooey Deschanel. And you're just like, wow, like...
And they kill him with a shotgun, if I recall.
They kill him with a shotgun. I really don't care that these 2 characters just got killed, because I don't care about them at all, for starters. There's no reason given to give a shit about these guys. And then... them getting killed is so obviously going to happen for so long, and they drag it out for so long that you're just like, holy fuck, dude, just shoot them already. Like, I'm tired of waiting for you to shoot these 2 characters that I don't care about.
The scene where they die, they're being complete dicks as well.
They're
like, they're like fucking up this guy's house who's telling them to leave, and like, we see this shotgun sort of like slowly move out of the window.
It's the slowest shooting I've ever seen in my life.
And they die in slow motion too, I think.
Like, wham, and they hadn't deserved it. I mean, not that anybody deserves to get shot, but I mean, hadn't deserved it at all. Like, hadn't provoked it at all. And it was just very sudden and very quick and very unexpected and if you will, horrifying. Then it would have been effective. But instead, it's just, there's this super long lead-up where they're just like, hey, like, M. Night Shyamalan is just sitting there going, oh my god, I'm gonna shoot these 2 characters, and then 5 minutes later they get shot.
Well, to be fair, those characters were very major in the manga, so it's a big moment, it's pivotal in the plot. If you read volume, 13 of The Happening, or...
I forgot. I forgot that it was a reimagining of the beloved children's comic, The Happening. Much like M. Night Shyamalan's later work on Avatar: The Last Airbender. That movie, though, if you want to laugh, watch The Happening. There's so many weird little things. Like, I don't know what it is. I thought it only happened in the 90s, but I guess it even happened after 2000 sometimes. Sometimes a movie gets released, and it looks like a TV movie.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like this can't have been put into theaters. This had to have been made for, like...
Sci-Fi Channel. Right?
Yeah, Sci-Fi Channel, or, like, what's that one that used to have, Duckman on it and stuff like that? It's kind of like a lower budget network. Am I thinking of UPN, or no? That's probably wrong.
I don't know. USA?
USA. It seems like something that would have been shown on USA, like, in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Like, that's how this movie looks. There's a lot of scenes in it where they'll be looking at a TV screen, like there'll be like a news report on a TV screen, and it doesn't look like that's really on that television that they're looking at. It looks like they've superimposed it over top later in post, but then a really bad job of it, because like the lighting's all wrong, and it's not believably really...
You know, I could make a film where I believably put a news report on the fucking television.
Probably. Like, it's not that tough.
What is the deal?
Just actually show something on a TV screen and then edit out those bars that you'll get when you film it, or... I don't know. I'm pretty sure I've seen things where things looked like it was really showing on a screen before.
Yeah,
it's called crazy, but I think that's happened in movies. So I know we have the technology to do it, but The Happening does not have access to that technology.
Just to trees waving in the wind, really.
It's really whack. The plot really makes no sense because Zooey Deschanel and Mark Wahlberg seem so preoccupied with the fact that their relationship is on the rocks, and then, you know, the events of the movie kind of get them to push past that and to have a kid and everything. But it's just like, why would these characters care about this? There's people murdering themselves all around them constantly.
Yeah.
I think you could put a little less focus on the fact that your relationship is like a little bit on the rocks. Like, you're a little bit unsure of whether you're going to break up or not.
The worst thing is that these are actors. There are a lot of actors that are not bad actors in this film. But what happens is, like, they're driving along in, like, a Jeep, and you cut over, there's a little, like, hole in the Jeep or something, like, lets a little bit of air in. And then the driver of the Jeep just gets this blank expression and decides, well, I guess I have to kill myself in some way.
Well, this is the problem with it. And my friend
it's just so stupid.
Has gone over this with me a couple of times. There's just no tension. There's nothing scary about the people killing themselves in the movie, because they just go and calmly do it, and they don't seem to give a shit. And it's so funny, because there's kind of a precedent set that when you get hit by this nerve toxin that makes you kill yourself in this movie, a couple of things happen. First, you freeze in position. You just kind of stand there and kind of look at something like a dope for a while.
Yeah.
Then, sometimes, if you've been hit with enough of it, but not all the time, but if you've really gotten a good whiff of this nerve toxin, apparently, you take a couple of steps backwards. A ton of characters do this in this movie, but not everyone. Just, like, people that really get the nerve toxin.
Like they get punched with it?
You take a few steps backwards. No, just slow. Just slow.
Okay.
And then, after you take a few steps backwards, then you find some overly elaborate, creative way to kill yourself. And it's described in the movie as being, these people lose their sense of self-preservation, and that's what they always keep saying it is in the movie. But I don't know why losing your sense of self-preservation would immediately cause you to find some way to kill yourself. Usually in an elaborate manner. Like, I'm pretty sure...
That's not really what self-preservation is doing. It's not like, without that, I'm immediately gonna fucking off myself. What I might do is lie down and stop eating. And like... Stop
bathing yourself, maybe? I don't know.
Just watch TV all day.
In bad neighborhoods. It really makes no sense. Like, the way my friend said it would have probably worked a lot better is if you lost control of yourself. Like, you were still conscious, but you couldn't control what you were doing, and then you were killing yourself. That would have been a lot scarier if people had been, like, grabbing guns and about to shoot themselves and, like, cognizant of it and being, like, screaming and not wanting to shoot themselves but not being able to control it.
Instead of just calmly doing it as though whatever, they're fucking catatonic.
These people don't care. Like, they're just, like, walking off buildings and stuff
if
like that.
If they don't even care, why should I care?
I don't know any of these characters. Yeah. Like, it just looks so... It's not that a bunch of people killing themselves isn't a scary situation, but, like, it was so goofy, and it was just presented so poorly that you just do not care. Like, the construction workers almost at the start of the movie, that part is so rough, because in the trailer, the guy's just falling off the building when the guy looks up. It looks like a really cool shot that could have been in a cool movie, but when you see it in the movie, it's terrible, because it starts with just this one guy falling off the top of this building next to these other construction workers that are on the ground, and they just start, like, crying immediately, and the guy's like, "Oh my god, go phone his wife," and, like, that's not how you would react to a body hitting the ground next to you. You'd be like, holy shit! Like, you'd be, like, surprised, you know what I mean? Like, people get an adrenaline burst when something traumatic happens at first. They don't just immediately start weeping and feeling
They had read the script in advance, and they knew that he was about to do it. They were upset by it, but not particularly shocked.
I don't know, man. Like, Shyamalama, he kills you during that movie. Like, he's just... it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Almost worse than The Room.
I showed The Room to a friend this past weekend, and when the flower shop scene came along, he was fucking crying. He was fucking crying.
I can't buy flowers
laughing
now.
Way too hard.
Ever since seeing that movie, I always want my flower buying to go smoothly as it goes for Tommy.
The scene happened, and he was just shouting like, "Why did they have to film that? Why did they only have 2 minutes to film the scene, and they had to finish it in 2 minutes and get out of there? What was the hurry?"
I saw the Tim and Eric movie recently. Have you seen it yet?
I haven't seen it yet. I should watch it.
It's on demand. It's pretty good. They made reference to our podcast. They watched Top Gun twice in the movie.
Okay. Good.
Which is pretty good. Of course, them watching Top Gun consists of them looking at a little thing on a little TV, and then it cutting to later in the day, and then it shows what they're actually watching on the screen, and there's like an F-18 flying for a little bit, and then it just goes to a black screen with white credits on it that aren't even, like, moving or anything. So it's like the wrong plane, and then just clearly not Top Gun.
I love Tim and Eric a lot, and I don't understand the people who don't love Tim and Eric. Like, I understand if you don't like the gross out humor that they do. Like, sometimes it's just gratuitous, but their sense of humor most of the time when they're making fun of really shittily produced TV is so fucking gorgeously done. Like,
well, I haven't watched The Awesome Show very much in comparison to most people. I've mostly only watched Tom Goes to the Mayor and the online show that they used to have on Super Deluxe that was called Tim and Eric Night Live. The Awesome Show, great job. What I've heard from most of the people that I know, and I respect most of their opinions on these things, is just that they really liked the first 2 seasons, but it's just from season 3 on, it just became intolerable to a lot of people. So I don't know, I can't really speak to it. Like, what is your feelings on it?
I giggle like a girl everything that they do. I can't separate the seasons up in my mind, really, because it's not like there's a continuity at all. It's a collection, like, it all becomes just sort of this collection of skits that they did, and I don't know. I love everything that they do. I fucking love everything that they do. You ever listen to Ween? You know Ween, the band?
Yeah.
The band?
I know Ween, the band. I don't listen to them much, but I know that you and Vaughn do.
Well, they are a lot... I